Good early morning, everybody. It's March 1st, 2025. February just flew by. March 1st, everybody. 3125. Early in the morning, my roosters were crowing at 3:13 a.m. I can't imagine why. Maybe they were being bothered by somebody out there. But, let's see. I've got a couple of things that I wanted to mention, and I received an article from Henry. Thank you, Henry. Henry is the subscriber who wrote that letter to Tulsi Gabbard. I guess about a week or so ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, and I read it on the channel. He sent me an article on DOGE and the intelligence agency's actions about the budget cuts and termination of the top heads of the agencies. So he gave me a link. It's on Substack. And let's see. The title here is Treasonous CIA insiders might be motivated, quote unquote, to betray America if DOGE fires them. Well, I mean, as I mentioned a day or so ago, Tulsi Gabbard fired 100 perverts. Yeah, 100 perverts at the NSA who were engaging in sex chats on company time. I guarantee there's going to be more, but remember, some of these people that are being fired are young. I mean, well, let's say younger than me. And they have a different mindset. And they may very well be willing to speak up and rant on TikTok or somewhere else. And who knows, we might have a new whistleblower brewing. So this is a treasonous CIA insiders might be motivated to betray America if DOGE fires them. This is by Tyler Durden, Thursday, February 27, 2025. Apparently one of the 6 ways from Sunday the intelligence community has to get back at the Trump administration is to threaten to leak sensitive information to a quote-unquote foreign intelligence service if they're fired. As part of DOGE's efforts to downsize government. Well, I don't know, guys. Do you think the new president takes well to threats? I don't think so. In a February 24th CNN article titled, How Trump's Government Cutting Moves Risk Exposing the CIA's Secrets. Well, I don't know. Is that a problem? We don't like secrets here in the USA. we want to expose the secrets of the secret societies and everything else. So the outlet warns, as the CIA weighs staff cuts, current and former intelligence officials say that mass firings could offer a rich recruitment opportunity for foreign intelligence services like the China or the Russia, who may seek to exploit financially vulnerable or resentful former employees. Oh, they'll just become gang stalkers and work for the fusion centers, right? On the CIA's 7th floor home to top leadership, some officers are also quietly discussing how mass firings and the buyouts already offered to staff risk creating a group of disgruntled former employees who might be motivated to take what they know to foreign intelligence service. Well, they might not even want to do that. They might just take to TikTok or somewhere else or Reddit and just do a big quick dive rant. And then somebody will pick it up, it'll get shared, and they'll become whistleblowers, and they'll become targeted, of course. Is that a threat from the CIA? Is CNN reporting that Trump should keep everyone employed because if he doesn't, former CIA agents will spill U.S. secrets to our enemies? Apparently so. But if that's the case, these are exactly the employees who should be fired. Those with too little integrity to exit with grace should not be employed in jobs with access to sensitive information. And I'm going to say, if they've got any security clearances, get rid of them. They should not be carrying them with them. You get fired, you have no more security clearance. The CIA employees CNN describes should not be trusted with any more secrets. With the same piece, CNN ridiculously makes it sound as if valued model intelligence employees will get the axe, and that those same employees have loose lips and are ripe for the picking. Which is it, CNN? The media wants you to be worried because they're worried. If Trump cleans house, it will destroy their business model. CNN and other propagandists have exploited unethical leaking of deep state sources, treating their whispers as gospel and amplifying their aims through high-profile news stories. If Trump fires their sources, it will be harder for the media to collude with the intelligence community to craft propaganda to sell to the public. The connection between CNN and the deep state has been too cozy for too long. And that is the end of the story. So that was treasonous CIA insiders might be motivated to betray America if DOGE fires them. Now, a YouTube creator, and I'm not remembering his name now. I'd have to go look for it. It's not familiar to me, the way it's, the real something or other. I'm sorry if I'm bastardizing your name here. The real something. Real Tyron or something like that. Tagged me. And I didn't understand why, because I'm not familiar with this person. But what happened was he watched another creator's video who's exposing fake targeted people and also people who might be blocked or whatever. So the testimony that I posted, the two testimonies that I posted, she pulled up, and you could see one of it scrolling where she's able to view it, and then she goes into another server or something, and it's restricted. So someone, some entity, some apparatus is restricting the most recent testimony, of the two testimonies by Robert Wood. I don't understand why, because when I look at my channel content, and I'll show you how it looks on my end for those of you who are not creators, okay? So this is my channel content. So here are the two videos that I created for Robert Wood. Then you scroll over here, it's public, monetization is on, restrictions, none, date, views, comments, and then here, check this out, watch this, watch what happens here. Okay, so the cyber stalkers haven't really gotten to it yet. It's at 95%, 22 likes, 39 likes. That one was yesterday, this one is today. But anyway, she was scrolling, and evidently on some channels or whatever, from a cell phone, this particular individual that alerted me to it said that he knows that the testimonies exist, but when he goes to his cell phone and tries to find it, he can't pull it up, or it's restricted or something. So if anybody out there knows why that happens, are testimonies being restricted from being viewed. I think the commenter said something about YouTube. There's some apparatus preventing some of this information to get out. If you've got any comments, let me know. Then somebody posted a link in the comments section. Let's see if I can find it here. And this is, I've actually seen this interview. This is an interview with Prather and ex-NSA intelligence analyst, whistleblower, which she doesn't like that whistleblower. She was an accidental whistleblower, Karen Stewart. And I'll just read what it says on the screen here. Karen Stewart, retired NSA intelligence analyst, became a targeted individual after complaining about a coworker, a female who was sleeping her way through management, who took credit for her work. And this is very common. This happens all the time. In an interview with Jeffrey Prather, she explains how the system works. She says, basically, that fusion centers became a quote-unquote revenge for hire business. Inconvenience people. Now, inconvenient, okay? What is inconvenience? What, somebody just doesn't like you? Oh, you're inconvenient to them personally? Inconvenient people are put without any legal process in watch lists, watch list levels created specifically to evade accountability. And that's why when the ACLU published the Trapped in a Black Box, Growing Terrorism, Watch Listing, and Everyday Policing, which is online in a PDF form, it's wonderful. Every targeted person needs to read that document. I don't care how long it takes you to read it. You need to read it top to bottom. That there were people on the list who had no names, no codes, like undefinable people, like thousands of them. They were not categorized within the watch list, and there were several watch lists. You know, there's the no-fly list, the quiet skies list, if you've actually committed a crime, you're on one list. If you're a non-investigative subject, which most of us are, that's another list. There's a silent hit list. And then there are these lists that have no categories, and the people are not tagged. So you have no idea why they're there, how long they've been there. They're just these secret lists. So she goes on to say, from then on, the government will start an endless surveillance and harassment campaign, which includes creating false dossiers, character assassination, and recruiting members of the community to sabotage and gaslight the target by various means. And I'll add to that when I moved to Kentucky, for those of you who are new, welcome. My name is Lorraine. I moved from Manalapan, New Jersey, in a home I lived in for 30 years as original owner. I became targeted there. The Manalapan Police Department tormented me, probably from 2015 until the day I moved. I incurred more than $300,000 in vandalism to my gorgeous home, in addition to thousands of dollars being stolen from my house. Cats unalived. My chinchilla was suffocated, and my canary, they snapped his neck. First they made him really sick, and then they snapped his neck. So, isn't that wonderful? In the privacy of your own home, people are coming in and actually doing this stuff. So, when I moved to Kentucky, rural, very rural, like in my town, there are less than 800 people. Do you have any idea what 800 people? Do you have any idea how small that is of a population? For instance, I believe Manalapan, at the time, maybe had 47,000 people, going to less than 800 people in a rural town surrounded by trees and forests and mountains. So when I moved here, I had people snarling at me, yelling at me, driving back and forth, pulling into my driveway, trash on the property, stealing my cats. Within 3 days, 4 of my cats were stolen. Then one was poisoned. So how is it possible that I could move from New Jersey to a rural, you think in the middle of nowhere, nothing could happen, to a rural community that everybody war against me when I did not know anyone? It is so obvious that a smear campaign, character assassination, was already spread through the community. Obvious. It's a little different when you're living somewhere a long time. But even in New Jersey, I lived there again for 30 years, and some of my neighbors lived next to me for 15 years or more. They already knew me. They knew me when I was married. They knew me when I was divorced. They saw how I take care of my house and my daughter and the cats and all this stuff. So then suddenly, a couple of guys in cheap suits were going door to door, staring at me, snarling at me. You know, they're fake agents or whatever they are, maybe FBI, going door to door. They weren't coming to my house. And then suddenly, they started installing people around me. They installed a detective from another county diagonally across the street who bought one of my long-term neighbors' homes. Then they purchased my next-door neighbor's house. Again, they were long-term. They lived there for 20-plus years. They were there actually before I even moved there. Andy and Chris and their daughter hung out with mine. And then when they moved, when they left, then they installed Vicky and Steve. Yeah, Vicky and Steve, who basically hardly lived there. They had houses somewhere else, but that was their front house, I've come to learn. It was their front house. They had practically no furniture in there. It took them a while to move in. And her brother-in-law lived there. And they were the gang stalkers. You know, they were the agents. They were provocateurs. They were jumping in and out of my property. They were lookouts. And I would see them looking down the street at somebody, like signaling to them and stuff. It was just so bizarre. You know, when you're living somewhere, you know everybody's habits in the neighborhood. And then you got these new people coming in. And they're doing just this weird stuff. Signaling, looking down the street, looking out, like sneaking out their front doors, hiding behind shrubs. You know, they're always out. Nobody's working. They're always staring at their phones. They're mimicking your movements and stuff. Just totally bizarre stuff. So how do you move to the middle of nowhere, knowing no one, and everybody knowing this BS about you, right? And the slander campaign here was, I don't pay people. They were threatening my workers that if you continue to clean her property, you will be part of our lawsuit, according to my neighbor. Yeah. Imagine threatening a teenager cleaning your property with a lawsuit for cleaning the property. Driving back and forth 5 times. Yeah, we already caught that. So how does this happen? Are they mind controlled? No, of course not. There are operatives that come into the community. They go to the sheriff's department. They have to do that first. They can't just go to local neighbors. Go to the sheriff's department. They go to the county lawyer. And then they disseminate this slander, this defamation, this character assassination. And then they recruit members of the community like the 3 Masons. And they're all over the place here. I mean, you can't live in a town like this and have 3 lodges and nobody joins. Probably all of my neighbors have joined. At least the guys, right? And then people driving back and forth, photographing your property and stuff. It's like, are you kidding me? I don't know you people. I don't know anything about you. Never met you. And all this stuff is happening. So what Karen Stewart is saying is absolutely true. So the government starts an endless surveillance and harassment campaign, which includes creating false dossiers, character assassination, and recruiting members of the community to sabotage and gaslight the target by various means. And you could watch all the videos on my channel. You could watch my neighbor screaming out her window. I'm going to imitate her, okay? You belong in an insane asylum! As she's trailing off down the road, and it's like, who's the one that belongs in an insane asylum? You're the one that ended up in the county jail with a mugshot. And then you can watch my video of my neighbor in May using his green John Deere tractor, wearing a black ski mask, and donning a dangling firearm. I'll say, I don't know, what's it allowed on VTube? Dangling firearm, threatening the worker on my property to not come closer with his weapon, and tearing down my newly installed gate on my legally surveyed property. Oh, guess what? The sheriff at the time did nothing. bullet holes in my no trespassing signs, and we found the shells. Tell the sheriff. Does nothing. Zero. So anyway, also, it is said classified microwave weapons, the same technology which causes Savannah syndrome, vehemently denied by the government, are being used in the campaigns, and the targets are being used as convenient guinea pigs for them because they lost all their rights when they were put on a watch list. Now, this is totally unconstitutional. Even people that are in prison have a trial with a jury of their peers. They'll have a warrant for their arrest that they are aware of, that they can physically view. But the reason it's all secret is because we're being covertly, well, not so covertly, it's open, experimented on for profit. Not only are we being blacklisted, and it's a secret, it's a big secret involving everybody, and most of the people involved don't know everything that they're doing to you and I. Because if they knew how complicit they are in MURDER, what is that old film with, what's his name? Forget, it's just slipping my mind. Red Rum? How about we call it, just say Red Rum? What was that, The Shining? Red Rum. If they knew that that's what they were doing, although most of them are psychopaths anyway, they're getting a kick off of it. In fact, they're probably jerking off behind the scenes. You know, like, oh, look, oh, let's zap her. Oh, let's jerk off while we're zapping her. Oh, yeah, and let's broadcast it. Oh, let's just put it on the dark web. It's so much fun. Because we're sociopaths, we're psychopaths, we're narcissists, and we're perverts. And Tulsi Gabbard uncovered at least 100. Oh, I guarantee there are much, much more than 100. So the following clips here are extracted from Jeffrey Show's The Prather Brief. And info about him is on jeffreyprather.com. It's this video right here. Ex-NSA intelligence analyst whistleblows on targeted individuals. Read the description. Well, let me see. Let me just read the description here. 1 second. 1 second. Okay, here you go. So, also, it is said that classified... okay, we just read that. Other interesting thing said is, anyone with money and contacts can put you on the lists for no reason. Do you know anybody with money and contacts? I did. How about all those damn lawyers that never divorced me? How about all those celebrities that I was involved with for years? They have a lot of money. And then she said she had a health record falsified to hide the results of the attacks. And I believe that. A law enforcement official explicitly told her that he was not allowed to help. Not allowed to help her due to her presence in some kind of blacklist and had her rights voided. And I'm going to attest to the fact that when I lived in Manalapan, New Jersey, my friend, my former friend, Sue Ann, who worked in real estate, she was a volunteer firefighter. Yes, a girl. She was a volunteer firefighter. She was a certified death investigator. And her brother was military. I met him. And her father was a retired cop. I met him too. I had emailed, I text messaged her. I said, you know, I think I'm some kind of a target. My house was broken into, blah, 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 blah. And she said, it took her a while to get back to me. She said, what's your zip code? I gave her my zip code. Don't hear back from her right away. Then she responds. She says, how about I come over later after work, you know? I said, sure, come over. She comes over. I show her the photos of my break-in. Now, if anybody, first of all, she's an extremely intelligent woman. I guess I can't go into all of it. You'll know who she is, but not everybody has the name Sue Ann either. But certified death investigator. Oh, also she's a fireworks expert. Yeah, she's a fireworks explosives expert. And she's a certified death investigator. And we were friends for years. Until this. So she comes over, she's looking at my photos of my house being broken into. And what it is are striation marks on the deadbolts, paint chipped off of the door, certain little like symbols that looks like a tool made on the door. The door frame was pulled away from the door. I mean, it was obvious that the door had been broken into. She looks at it, and I'm watching her look at it. And I could see the expression on her face that she knew exactly what happened. She knew exactly who was involved. And she turns around and looks at me and says, who did you piss off? I kid you not. I was dumbfounded. Like, okay, here comes the gaslighting, right? This is somebody I'd been friends with for years. We hung out together. We went to concerts together. I took one of her runes teachings, her courses. We used to watch movies together. We both had cats, you know, all that stuff. She turns to me and says, who did you piss off? And she with this angry expression on her face. And then from that point forward, we had very little contact with each other. The Manalapan Police Department falsified a report. It was the night that she and I went out to dinner locally. And it was after I went to the feral cat colony and fed the cats. Which was around 5 o'clock. I went to feed the cats. Took me a while. Drove to the restaurant. I got there early. And then by the time we leave the restaurant, it's got to be like 8 o'clock. Like, we talk. Well, she's a talker. So the Manalapan police falsified the report and said that I was gone only an hour, which is a total crock of BS. So I didn't get home until after 8, which is like at least 3.5 hours. But the Manalapan police falsified the report, so I called her. I said, do you have a copy of the American Express bill? Because what happened was when we went out to eat, she liked to collect the points, and she would charge it, and I would pay her the cash from, you know, my portion of the dinner. So she said she didn't have it. And I knew that was crock of bullshit. This is a woman who saves all the receipts, very detailed. I mean, almost like anal retentive about her detailness. Come on. She grew up in a cop family. Her brother's military. She's a volunteer firefighter. She does like everything perfectly. Literally perfectly. She did not have the receipt, and she could not call American Express to get a copy of it or the receipt from the restaurant. She claimed she did not have either of them. And I moved. I ended up moving. Never even said goodbye to her. I called her once or twice. She was always pleasant. Never heard from her again. Somebody that had relationship for years. So yes, there are people in the know about these lists. Sue Ann was obviously in the know as soon as she got my zip code, saw that I was on some list, viewed the photos of my house break-in, and totally gaslighted me. Who did you piss off? So all it takes is pissing off somebody to get on a list. Well, I guarantee I pissed off more than one person in my life. How about you? I would piss off people just by walking in front of them. That's right. That's right. So a law enforcement official explicitly told Karen Stewart that she was not allowed to help due to her presence in some kind of a blacklist that had her rights voided. Some people are added to the watch list just for the sole purpose of non-consensual weapon experimentation. So how about that? There's a little bit of proof for you. Oh, and also, as far as the Manalapan coppers go, they had the audacity to write on an incident report. You know, this is after the CIA, FBI operative living next door, the new one that moved in after Steve and Vicky moved across the street. The new ones, I called her, she's like a witch. She was definitely a witch who followed me around from the back. Her kids were screaming all the time. She filed a false report on me, and the Manalapan coppers wrote in the report that I was a terror threat for walking on my driveway. Yeah, I was 60 years old at the time. I was a 60-year-old terror threat for walking on my driveway. Oh, and they wrote that I displayed disorderly conduct. They were not even there. And the blondie witch next door, whose name I can't even pronounce, filed a false report on me. And that's the way this program works. She was only living there for, 6 months? I was living there for almost 30 years. That's the way it works. And the cops are always involved. So, anyway, to summarize this, Karen Stewart, retired NSA analyst, became a targeted individual after complaining about a coworker, a female, who was sleeping her way through management who took credit for her work. Anyone with money and contacts can put you on the list for no reason. There was a health record falsified to hide the results of the attacks. A law enforcement official explicitly told her he was not allowed to help her due to the presence of some kind of blacklist that had her rights voided. And some people are added to the watch list just for the sole purpose of non-consensual weapon experimentation. And Sue Ann in New Jersey, my ex-former friends, asked me, after viewing the evidence of my house break-in, who did you piss off? I don't know. Tells you everything you need to know. Oh, besides the fact that I moved to the middle of nowhere with less than 800. No, actually, when I moved here, there were 803 people. The population has decreased to like 793 or something like that. In the middle of nowhere, on the edge of a national forest, surrounded by mountains and trees. Less than 800 people, and everybody around here had a harassment campaign already set up, claiming that I don't clean my property, that I don't pay people. That's right. That's how it works in the good old USA. You too can be a target just for pissing somebody off. You can be placed on the list for no reason, just if you come in contact with somebody for money. And I'm going to add something, because now I have 6 people. One was married to a military, and all the others were married to cops and divorced them, got placed on the watch list. So I highly recommend you don't marry a cop, because if for some reason you divorce them, you too will become a targeted individual. This is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading. I'm going to sign off for now. It's 4:30 a.m. on March 1st, 2025. Please remember to hit the thumbs up. It helps the channel grow, get the message out there. And obviously, some of my videos are being restricted to the general public.